Hi there, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, Women on TV.tv, iTube 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee, and Worldwide TV Network, and now all the iHeart channels, platforms around the world. So couldn't wait to do this one. Our climate is changing a lot. All kinds of things are going on. I'm in the bedroom today. I've never been and done a show in the bedroom. This is a first for me because we got movers and everything like that. Frank, you were talking about you're at work, so you got all things going on, right?
Yeah, 14 people working here right now. Oh, maybe there's more today. I saw some guys I didn't know today, so I think it's more.
Tell us who you are and where you're coming from.
What's that? Okay. My name is Frank Shubert, and I'm in Tracy, California right now. I'm at the offices, world headquarters of Tracy Renewable Energy and Combined Solar Technologies. And yeah, it's a work day. We're saving the planet.
Hey, this is
one piece of dirt at a time.
This is what we're supposed to be doing, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's very hard when you do it day to day. It seems like nothing's happening, but you know, I look out there every once in a while and go, holy cow, we're getting close to turning this machine on. And so it's kind of exciting right now. I mean, it's hectic as hell and it's stressful, but it's also, on the other hand, is, you know, when we pull this off, it'll make a difference for a lot of people, you know.
Talk about the company and what you guys are wanting to achieve and why it's important. And the reason I say that, because as today, Texas started to open back up, and Mississippi, which is ridiculous. And, you know, Mother Earth is on a rampage right now.
Yeah. You know, and the part that's unsettling is that if you know enough about it, you know that Texas and Mississippi are that's like what they're doing. The COVID and the way this thing happened is like getting a mosquito bite compared to getting hit in the head with a baseball bat. I mean, that they're just flaunting it so recklessly. And this isn't even the bad part yet. You know, this storm that happened in Texas, the reason that happened, you know, you hear all these idiots, oh, you see, there's no global warming, it's cold in Texas. Well, if you know anything about the climate, you know that there's a jet stream that circles around the northern hemisphere. The reason, and this jet stream carries a lot of cold air in it, and it stays in Canada and up there. The reason it came to Texas is because it got so warm at the North Pole that the air expanded and it pushed that jet stream all the way south, about 1,200 miles. That's how much the difference was. And so when I see these knuckleheads going, oh, you know, this is not so bad. Well, yeah, in one way, they're right. It's not bad yet, but it's gonna be if you don't do something. And it's the same, what Biden called it, Neanderthal thinking, you know, that your little cave is the only thing on earth. It's just not a fact anymore. And you would think that the internet has opened up a lot of stuff. I mean, you know, like I love it. There's a site called and it's not a plug for it, I just love this site. It's called Radio Garden Live. And when you download this app, it shows you a picture of the earth, and it shows you thousands of radio stations. And say, I was listening to a radio station in the Amazon in Toluca, Brazil yesterday. And it's a live radio broadcast from Brazil. And I'm listening to what they're playing and what they're saying. It was so cool. But anyway, my point is that, you know, I hope the internet opens things up more so people can see, you know, the only thing is it's so siloed, you know, everybody's got their little thing, but and you know, with all that, you know, sort of negativity of the last couple of years and everything, I'm hopeful. I mean, I know a lot of real smart people that are working on this, and they're not backing down. They just got quiet when, you know, that knucklehead was in charge, but they didn't stop working, you know. Same with us. We worked straight through that whole last 4 years, full blast at trying to save the world. And now, you know, I've got this big machinery out there. Yeah, it created a carbon footprint to build this stuff, but within 10 days of turning this thing on, we get neutral as far as our carbon footprint to build this place. And then from that point on, I think we figured we're going to start out doing 123,000 tons a year of CO2 out of the air. That's just one little, you know, unit. So, you know, the reason it's important is that we live in a, you know, unforgiving universe. And right now, the Earth is in a period of about 10,000 years. It's never been this nice, right? You probably wouldn't have humans doing as well as they are if it wasn't for the fact they can grow all this food and get this protein and get their brains working and stuff. So, it's a lot of what I see is people conflate weather with climate, right? Weather is what's happening outside right now. Climate is what happens over a period of 100 years, right? That's what's changing. The climate is changing, and now it's affecting the weather. What happened in Texas? You're Tennessee. You're near Nashville, aren't you, Frank?
Well, we shoot some of our shows in Franklin, Tennessee, but they're already shot. So I'm in Vegas right now, and I'll be moving the next, you know, between now and July 1st, August 1st, up to Reading, up to the property. So, I mean, I'm kind of interested, not kind of, I am interested in what you guys have, because, you know, it's about being environmentally friendly, sustainable, and we want to have net zero. That is important to me because Mother Earth is going nuts right now, you know?
Yeah, it really is. When people think of Earth, a lot of, you know, I don't know. I get mad at these people, but on the other hand, I don't want to call them names and stuff. But let's just say there's a lot of people, when you say the Earth, all they're thinking about is dirt and rocks, right? And well, look, it's the same as it was when I was born. That's one part of the Earth, right? And the fact is, it's not the same as when you were born. You know, the continent, the whole freaking continent is moving at just about the exact same rate that your fingernails are growing. So when you start with clip your fingernails and wait a month and see how far your fingernail grew, that's how far the whole continent shifted over, you know? So nothing is the same, really. And we're lucky to be here, and we should embrace that and take care of this place, you know. I have a messy bedroom, but that doesn't mean it's like that doesn't affect the climate or anybody else. That's only me, you know. The problem is when I go out and I, you know, smoke a cigar and blow smoke on people. It's like smoking in public, really, you know. You can say, well, you're only affecting yourself. Well, yeah, you're affecting yourself the most, but you're also affecting everybody around you. And that's kind of what this climate thing is like. And the problem is we've been bullshitted so badly by the oil companies and by big money and people who have invested in oil companies. And I don't get it. It's like, don't they have kids, or don't they? It's such a narcissistic way to look at life. But yeah, you know, and what you're doing, going net zero, if everybody did that, the problem is if everybody did that, that's about 23% of the pollution. So that would help, but it wouldn't stop it. It has to be on a bigger scale. And that's what we're trying to prove here. This is a big industrial plant we're building, right? This is not a home unit at all. It's for the city. The city of 90,000 people is what we're building this thing for. And we had, if it wasn't for private money and a couple of enlightened investors, this never would have happened, because the powers that be don't want it to happen, right? Because the second that we started cleaning Tracy's wastewater, and when I mean wastewater, I'm saying not the toilet water. That's not the stuff that we're doing, because the wastewater plants, even though their technology is 100 years old, they work pretty good for that stuff. I mean, the stuff that comes out of your toilet, they have a very good way to clean that, separate all the solids, get out the nitrogen, and put it back in the river, and it's drinkable. It's just water. They take all the stuff out of it.
Yeah, it does work, and a lot of people don't realize that. And it's also, I found a company called WaterGen last year at the CES show, Consumer Electronics Show, out of Israel, and I love how they were recycling their bottles. I love their plant. I would like to have them on the property. I'm still wait. They said yes, but you know what happens? Everybody takes their time. When I met them, I was only at 4.1 million views a day. I'm at 7, still waiting for them, and that's only even a year later. It's just these things. I'm like, okay, I'll keep waiting for you as my numbers continue to go up, because I've got the outlet to talk about this stuff. And I'm like, we need those products, and the longer you wait, the worse it starts to get, because the Earth's not playing around right now. And I've got someone out of Houston, Texas, one of my co-hosts, and it's not supposed to be 73 one day and 23, and then the next day and 53 one day. That's not normal.
Right.
It's not normal in Tennessee to be 25 degrees and then 73 the next day. That's not normal either. When I was at the Super Bowl last year, February 2nd, and the reason I remember it, because I left that day, because I knew Corbett was there. I just didn't know what the name of it was going to be. I've known about this since October 3rd of 2018. And I've been on record, and I've been telling everybody since then. Movie theaters, cruise ships. I've been telling these people since 2018. I started my very first email October 3rd of that day. I picked Joe Biden and Kamala Harris May of 2018. I actually won 2 bets. So that's just where we are, as far as I am as seeing things. And so I was telling everybody, between now and April 15th, it's got to be a slow, steady open. You can't take anything for granted. You still have to have your mask on.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of bothered with what's going on in Mississippi and Texas. Really? You guys think you know more than what's going on? No, you don't. You just want to open up. Then all of a sudden, everybody got super spreader events. That bothers the hell out of me.
Yeah. Yeah. And the problem is they don't just stay in Mississippi or Texas.
Exactly.
They come around and affect the rest of us.
Exactly. And I got a problem with that, because, they're going to come to Vegas. I pretty much have been locked down since December. I went out to see my co-host from Houston, Texas for 4 hours. We stayed away. I wanted to see what was going on with the casinos and everything. We went down to Fremont Street because the new Circa opened. And I saw people sitting watching the Oakland Raiders game in a stadium site, a new thing, hotel that hadn't opened up yet. And they're all sitting together. They all have their masks, but they're drinking and smoking in the middle, all around the bar. And I'm talking to security person. I'm like, how is this good? How is this going to work? And she and I were standing in the corner. At us. I'm like, this is not going to work. That was December, and here we are into April pretty soon.
Yeah, there's a kind of sort of a country bar in this town. And the lady who owns it's a real Trump fanatic, and she had a band there on New Year's Eve this year, right? And it's some of my friends went, come on, this is not bad. And I went there, and I was the only person, my wife and I were the only people there with masks on, and was packed. And I was feeling weird. I kind of avoided everybody and snuck out in the back. And the band's playing, and I said, God, I'm surprised the police don't come and say something about this. And this girl says, that band there is all made up of cops. They're not going to come.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow, isn't that? But yeah, it's I don't know, whatever. I mean, what are you going to do? It's just the problem. It's like global warming. It's not that these guys can just, like me, have a messy bedroom and nobody ever sees it. It's they're spewing it. It's like a smoker in a, you know, in a convalescent home or something. It's not just the smoker that's getting the stuff, you know. So yeah, and so what we're doing here is this is like well, and by the way, we've been really careful, you know. Everybody, we all work outside pretty much, and so all the guys the construction guys are wearing masks. You know, how often do you see that? And they're all real careful, and we all get tested pretty often. And one of our guys just this morning got the vaccine finally. So, but anyway, what we're doing is it's an industrial type plant with a big smokestack, right? No, you know, right away, that's not good. Well, the thing is, we're burning biomass. We're burning walnut shells to create the energy to run our process and to generate electricity. And now, so the CO2 we put in the air came out of the air last year, right? And it came out, went into the walnut shells, and we burned the walnut shells and release it back. Well, the thing we're doing is, and we kind of got away with this because we designed and built our own what's called selective catalytic reduction system and a non-selective catalytic reduction system. In fact, I don't know any other industrial plant that has a smokestack in America that has both, right? So we reduce the NOx down, like the closest, I think, the closest air permit says they're going to have 80 parts per million, and we're at 9, right? So that's NOx. And SO and CO, we've got reductions on that too. We're so far below the limits, but we're partnering with a company called Reactive Surfaces in Austin. It's a friend of mine. We've been friends for a long time. In fact, I found these. It's a long story, but anyway, I have sort of a history with this company, and what we're doing is we're adding a CO2 capture system to our already neutral CO2 combustion system, right? So we're going to be a CO2 sink while we're burning stuff. Now, I don't expect that thing. My friend thinks it's going to pop right out and work. I've never seen anything just pop right out and work. But I would say within 2 years, this thing will be operational and we'll be able to reduce our stack gas, which is twice. If everybody in America became neutral with their homes and their driving, this would create twice as much carbon sink as that. I mean, it would save twice as much carbon because most of the carbon is not coming from houses. You know, transportation is a big one, but most of it isn't houses. It's smokestacks like this, all the industry, you know, and burning of natural gas and things. Well, with, you know, instead of trying to get everybody to just stop doing that, I thought, well, what if we just come up with a way to neutralize it, right? And, you know, other people in sort of, I sort of sneak in under the radar in industry, you know. I'm sort of their enemy, but they don't know it.
Yeah.
But I hear these people going, I'm not going to spend a nickel on that goddamn pollution stuff. And they're complaining about having to, you know, it affects their bottom line. My attitude about that is, if you're starving to death and a guy's got a sandwich and he's going to charge you $40 for this sandwich, it doesn't matter what it costs, right? It's going to save your life. So that they're so reluctant to spend any money, it just really annoyed me, but it's also reality. So I thought, okay, how do we change that? Well, by making this system, both my system pays for itself, right? We're cleaning the water for the city of Tracy for almost for free, for less than what it costs us, right? Because we figured other ways to make money, and we thought, well, we'll pass it on to the city. Well, with this CO2 capture system, yeah, it's going to cost you money to put it in and maintain it, but it has a product other than just clean air, right? Because clean air, how do you, unless you got carbon credits, which is an iffy prospect, how do you get these guys who don't want to spend a nickel on anything spend $1 million on something. Well, we produce something that's valuable, which is very high grade cellulose. I mean, the lab grade cellulose. Now, eventually there will be, when enough of these systems get out there, the price of cellulose will go down. And, but the thing is, you can make these bugs produce other things. Methanol, you could get them to produce a thing called, it's carbonate. I forgot the name of this stuff. It's like dirt, right? It's just an inert. And so that, if you want to totally sequester your CO2, formate, I think it's called. You turn it into formate and just bury it in the ground. It doesn't hurt anything, So that's kind of this quest I've been on, is how to get these people. They're not necessarily bad people. A lot of them are assholes. I meet the real rich ones,
What's the name of the website for the company?
But how do you get them to agree to spend some money? Well, you trick them into thinking they're going to make a fortune. And then if they break even, it's a good deal, right? And so that's what I'm trying to do. In 2 years, once we've got a year's worth of operations here and we can prove it, we can probably force every smokestack in California to install one of these things just through legislation. Although the better way to do it is to show them how to make money and to show them how it's good for their business to do this, because now they're part of this community that's trying to save everybody, be part of the community. I mean, that's part of the community, right? You want the community to keep going. So being part of it means you help keep it going, as opposed to just making a profit, or, I don't mean to get on a bandstand here, but I'm sort of passionate about the idea, like the same as you. It's, it's important.
What's the name of the website of your company?
Oh God, it's cstgreen.com is the one. I think there might be one for TRE too. So up until recently, we were trying to stay completely underground. I mean, our website is 100 years old. We just don't care. We don't want anybody calling us, and then we realized that we're far enough along that we could probably, it's not so people look at us and go, oh, is that cool? But it's to promote the idea, that to inspire other people. And we got past this tipping point where, for the first 6 months, we're like, oh, are we going to keep getting funded? And is it going to happen? Well, now we're going, that's going to happen, right? We've got $15 million into it now. It's not going to stop anytime soon.
Wow. What gets people interested into helping to support? Why is that? And how far is Tracy from Reading?
From Reading is about 3.5 hours, maybe. I mean, okay. I can't remember. It's right out. Reading is right on the 5, but is Reading before Shasta, or it's before
it's in that area. It's in the Mount Shasta.
Yeah, about 3.5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome to come down anytime. We'll give you the grand tour.
I know. I like what you guys are doing. I mean, that's important. How do you see it spreading outside? Do you see it going to Texas? Do you see it going to Florida at all? Or no, not really?
Texas needs us so bad. And when I was trying to sell these things, as opposed to just when I realized I don't want to just be a parts salesman, I've talked to I can't remember who the governor was. I went to one of his conferences. I went to Texas maybe a dozen times, pitching this to different water agencies and to renewable conferences. And I was for a while, I was doing a lot of talks, and I remember I had a guy got me on the phone. It was I was supposed to do a sales pitch, and it was all, rich oilmen on this call. And they're going, well, we got this damn water problem. Because for every gallon of oil that comes out of the ground, you got 5 gallons of dirty water that they just screwed up, right? And the water situation in Texas is horrendous. It's just,
Yeah.
you can't drink the water, right? Well, we were showing them how you could clean the water, and instead of, you know, either injecting it in wells, which is quickly backfiring on them, or paying to haul it somewhere, or just dumping it on the ground and not worrying about it, which is what most of them do. You could use this thing because they need heat anyway, and our system uses heat or produces heat that then you use. That's how we make money. We don't make money on cleaning the water. We kind of do that for free. We make money on how we use the heat, just like a electric generator plant would do, or a Chinese laundry. I mean, they all need heat, and that's Chinese laundry. We'd have to have a really big one, you know. So yeah, that's sort of how it works. And I remember these guys just going, well, I don't know, you know, how much are going to cost me? And I said, well, tell you what, if you give us the site and agree to pay for the water that we clean, it won't cost you us to build it. And they're like, and if they just kept coming after one excuse after the other. And then I started getting pissed. So then I get cocky and I say something, you know, well, you guys don't know shit. They all hang up. Who cares? They weren't gonna, you know, that's what I mean. My sales pitch usually over the, because I've been doing this for 16 years now. Lately, my sales pitch is, fuck you, I'll call somebody else. I don't want to talk to you because I already know it. And, you know, the first thing, well, how much does it cost? And what's the problem for me? And I just don't bother. Now we provide service, or, you know, and we clean the water sort of in a subversive way. We don't really, they think we're doing something else. And in the meantime, we're cleaning water and cleaning the atmosphere.
Yeah.
So, well, I mean, I
think that's great, because I understand when I'm telling people why, you know, we want, you know, especially if they're environmentally friendly or sustainable, when I'm wanting to go to smaller companies, I'm like, hey, I don't have, you know, I'm stock proof, and I'm economy proof. I don't have to worry about it. I'm the CEO. I can do whatever I want. My numbers will always go up, never stay the same, never go down because of the views. And I look at it this way. I'm here to help save your business. And if not, I'll just charge you a stupidity fee just for being stupid. That's how I look at them. And they don't necessarily like when I say that, but I don't care, because it's just like when I've got Segway. AI technology is not going anywhere. Drones aren't going anywhere. Cleaning solutions aren't going anywhere. Telecommunications is not going anywhere. Everybody's on streaming right now. The internet was never built to have this many people streaming. This time last year, Disney Plus hadn't come on yet. Peacock, NBC hadn't come on yet. HBO Max had not come on yet. We hadn't been, well, I was locked down February 21st, but I actually started February 2nd when I was in Miami. And I was going to tell you this, when I'm in Miami and I see a woman and I see a bunch of cars parked in almost ankle deep water, and she's walking back to her car with nice shoes and pantyhose on in the middle of the water, I'm like, this was 10:30 in the morning. I'm like, that I don't know when she parked a car there, but that's not normal. I know she didn't park it in there and walk through with nice shoes coming here. She walked straight with these nice expensive shoes on, and like it was like, oh, it's just another day in Miami. That told me something, because a blind person can see that the water is rising just in Miami alone. You and I both know that. That is not good.
No, they're, and you know, it's the whole Miami or Florida peninsula is limestone, which is super porous.
Yeah.
You know, they have so much saltwater intrusion there now that it's just, there's hardly any wells there where you can just drink the water anymore, you know. But yeah, that's interesting. Well, that would tell me that the water probably came up really fast, right? I mean,
it was 10:30 in the morning. It was 10:30 in the morning, February 1st. And
wow.
I remember this because I was going to the Lee Steinberg football party, and then, you know, February 2nd was Super Bowl, and I left because it felt strange there to me. And I knew COVID was there, but how are you going to tell anybody in Florida? Who's going to believe me? Who's going to believe the black guy, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Well,
I know
anybody.
more than most of they do. So I'll put anything that I'm doing up against them any day. And it's not about
Yeah.
it's about the knowledge. It's about being safe. Look what's happening in Florida a year later. Look what's happening in Texas, in Georgia a year later. It hasn't improved like what you were saying before.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really an interesting situation, but on the other hand, to me, because I'm here every day, and slugging and welding stuff and I spent all day working on calculations today. It seems like nothing's happening, but when I stand back, I get excited because I think, I can't be the only one doing this stuff. In fact, I know that quite a few people are working on this. I, about 20 years ago, I met Elon Musk and we hung out. In fact, I get this story. We had a glass of wine. We had this dinner with a bunch of people at NASA, which is what I was working as sort of a NASA contractor back then. And Elon, we did a fundraiser in Palo Alto for this project, the Mars habitats that we built up at the North Pole. And it's a simulator. So the astronauts go in there and they can practice being on Mars and being in sort of this weird landscape. And we had this meeting and there was it was in Denver, and there was a snowstorm started, like just, swooped in right about a half an hour before everybody was supposed to be at this restaurant. And Elon and I both showed up about 10 minutes early. So we ended up sitting there at the bar for almost an hour before everybody else showed up. And we're about 4 or 5 glasses of wine and we're ranting about this and that. And he found out, I mentioned that my wife is Russian. And he said, well, God, would you guys come with me to Russia? Because I want to buy, back then in early 2000, you could go to Russia and throw a rock and hit 3 generals that'll sell you an used ICBM. I mean, just everybody had one, but they were all full of shit, So he said, well, she speaks Russian. Would you guys come there with me and help me negotiate this deal? Because I want to buy one of these things for an experiment. And I was like, and a couple glasses of wine. Elon, Jesus Christ, you just sold PayPal. So you got hundreds of millions of dollars. Start your own damn rocket company. I mean, I said, I'll write you down a list right now of 30 people that work at NASA that would come to work for you in a heartbeat if they thought they'd actually get something done instead of work inside the government bureaucracy, And then we had dinner and we'd yak with all the other guys. And then it's like 5 months later, he started SpaceX. I was like, yeah.
You know what's funny about that? One of my sponsors, Casey Wright, is one of his engineers that built the rocket ships for the civilians go from SpaceX. He's one of my sponsors. And because what he wants to do is a clothing line. So he has the X on his, actually one in here, he has the X on his jackets that he makes. And I found him at a gifting suite 3 years ago. So he always comes on my show. So it's like he's in charge of the team that does that at SpaceX.
Wow. Yeah, it's really cool what he's doing. And, he's got that X Prize now, $100 million for a carbon capture system. And so this group that I'm working with, my CST and this company called Reactive Surfaces, there's 3 of us on this team. Steve and I are sort of the main ones, and then we have another consultant in Amsterdam that works with us. All 3 of us know Elon, right? And Artemis, this woman from Amsterdam, was on a call with him for something, and she told him that, Frank and Steve and I are working on this carbon capture system. And but she wrote me, said, hey, he remembers you. And like the next day, I get a freaking text from Elon Musk saying, congratulations, glad you're on the team. I know you guys will pull it off. So
that's interesting.
I showed that my wife, and she goes, that's fake. I said, no, it's not. But yeah, I mean,
she's Russian, so she understands that everything could be phony. That's why they understand.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
For sure. They
it's
don't
hard.
move
I mean,
anything.
I'm around a lot of my Ukrainian friends. I adore them. You know, it's going to take a lot
Yeah.
against them of anything. They come from a communist country. They know.
There's,
It's hilarious. What do you want?
you know,
We got about
I,
we got about 5 minutes left. What do you want people to know about your company? Why is that important? Because I love what you guys are doing.
it's, when I say, I don't like, I don't want to like sound like a blowing smoke my own, toot my own horn here, because it's not just me. I started this, but I was a catalyst, and now there's, between engineers and the guys on the ground, probably 40 people working on this now. And they're all doing a great job. I couldn't do it without them. But what I want them to think about is that anything is possible. I mean, everybody in the world, when I started this, told me it wouldn't work, and at first it didn't.
I can just imagine.
Yeah.
I think what you've done is great. How you explain it. I mean, I can't wait to tell my partner about this. He probably knows about your company.
Well, I hope not, because we've been trying to stay underground. But soon, I hope everybody knows soon, right? But yeah, I want, and it's a cool feeling that I don't know, I don't feel like some egotistical part of this, but it's a cool feeling. I'm part of this community of humans on Earth, and I'm one of the guys that are trying to help it sustain itself, and not blow each other up, or when I see how much money America spends on killing poor people in other countries, it's just, we could have no climate problem if they just stop that. Build one less battleship, and solve the climate problem.
No, that's all it
one
takes.
battleship.
Just one. That's all it takes. I mean,
Yeah,
my problem is
gotta
that
start.
the Amazon is still burning. Imagine what we have never discovered there. That's gone now. The Arctic is never coming back. It's too late. The only thing we can do is just try to protect what little time we have of that, or the water rising. It's too late. What can we do? That's why we chose to be higher up in Reading, because we're on granite, so we're not worrying about the San Andreas Fault. Where we considered every factor except for a meteor, a comet, and an asteroid. Those are the three things that we couldn't do anything about. Everything else we could. And I tell everybody that.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's about the right location. Believe me, I didn't want to move to Reading. I mean, the Northern California. I love Southern California, but it's the right place to be, because it's, the earth is warming up. It's getting hotter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. That's a really good point. I mean, I've been trying to talk my wife into moving north, and she's like, you're worried too much. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's not, I'm not saying we got to move next week, but it's guaranteed things are going to get worse.
No, my partner, like I said, the first email I sent out was October 3rd of 2018. We've been working on this stuff, but we thought we could be in Southern California at the Pine Mountain Forest, 25 minutes from Magic Mountain. Property was great, but it was a vortex there, plenty of gold and silver. But the thing about it was, we could see a fire coming over 3-4 years later. That was the only thing about this. Where we are now, our realtor's a fireman, his son is a fireman, and California has 2 fire seasons. So the property's never had a fire on it. The soil has never been contaminated, and there's never been any fracking on it. Those 3-4 things are very, very important to have, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool.
Yeah.
To find something like that.
I got to thank you for coming on, because I didn't know too much of what you were doing. I'm like, I love what you're doing. And I know my partner knows your company. I know he does, because he finds these hard to find companies that nobody knows anything about. And he loves that. And he likes to remain under low key too. I'm kind of like the face on the media side, but he's the visionary of everything. And, when I tell you more of what we're creating, you guys will get it. You guys are going to be involved with us. I already know.
All right. No, that'd be awesome, man. And
So
you
Frank, I
know,
want to thank you for this. I'm going to say,
okay.
I'm going to sign off on this real quickly. I have to say this. I always say, if you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because the world needs it. Frank, thank you for what you're doing. I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More, and we will see you next week.